What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing the Ravens content every single day. If you want to see that daily Ravens content, make sure the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell as well if you want to get notified every single time I put a brand new video. Now, in this video today, this is not going to be something that I consistently do, which is look at other people's mock drafts. There are a couple of people where I will look at them. Todd McShay and Daniel Jeremiah. Those are basically the only two people that I ever look at and go, okay, I'll put a little bit of stock into it because I respect their scouting and I respect that they actually do know a fair bit about a lot of these prospects. And I think generally they do a decent job. Are they right 100% of the time? Absolutely not. Nobody is. But Daniel Jeremiah, if you didn't know, he actually came through the Baltimore Ravens organization. He was very familiar with John Harbaugh, very familiar with Eric DeCosta, very familiar with Ozzie Newsome. So he's always kind of had that understanding of how the Ravens think. And so I feel like it's always valuable to look at who he thinks the Baltimore Ravens are going to take in his mock drafts because he's been in the building. That's more than basically any of us can say. So in the comment section down below, let me know your guys' thoughts on this mock draft. But I read this and I was shocked. I was utterly shocked at what he had the Ravens taking, because I'm going to name some players that were still on the board when he made this selection. Jordan Addison on the board. Bijan Robinson, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Basically all of the wide receivers outside of Quentin Johnston were available. And he had the cornerbacks available. I think all the really good ones were taken, but Tyreek Stevenson out of Miami, he was still available. There were some good edge rushers still available. He has the Ravens taking Anthony Richardson. And I'm going to read the dart that he, or the little paragraph that he wrote. He said, "I'm throwing a dart with this selection. The Ravens have yet to ink Lamar Jackson to an extension, and Richardson would be a high upside developmental project for the organization. Baltimore's brass was steadfast this week in its desire to build around Jackson for the future, but if contract talks don't progress in a positive direction in the coming months, they could apply the franchise tag on former MVP, buying time for Richardson to eventually be ready to play." This is the exact opposite thing of what you want to do. All right, this is ridiculous, okay? I understand the concept behind it is, hey, you don't know if you're going to have your quarterback, draft a backup just in case. Here's the issue with that. If you're trying to extend Lamar Jackson and show him we are trying to build around you, why would you draft a backup? If you draft a backup quarterback for somebody, that quarterback, the starting quarterback's not going to be happy. They're not going to want to stay with you. Look at what happened with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was unhappy with the Packers. You guys aren't giving me wide receivers. And so they went out, and then they went out and they drafted Jordan Love. And he was like, what are you doing? I'm done. And they took a lot. They paid him an absurd amount of money to stay. But Aaron Rodgers is at the end of his career. Lamar Jackson obviously wants to be in Baltimore. The Ravens are very committed to him. If you're saying, yeah, you can franchise tag him, you can franchise tag Lamar twice. But saying, oh, we're going to franchise tag him just so then he can play a year, so then you can start Anthony Richardson, which, first of all, I think Anthony Richardson is terrible. I'm not a fan of his. Now, could he be a steal if you drafted him in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round? Yeah, potentially. But he does not have the upside that's talked about. Like he's a very developmental project. Could he work out in 4 years down the line? Absolutely. I'm not going to take away the very raw skill set that he has, but this guy's not he can start in 2 years type of player. Or at least start and win a Super Bowl, because the Ravens' entire roster is built to win as soon as possible. They have the defense set for the next about 3 years. Basically, all the core pieces are there. The offense is set for the next couple of years with Mark Andrews, with the offensive line, and with Rashad Bateman. And you would think Lamar Jackson. Anthony Richardson, first of all, isn't fitting into that timeline. That's like a full rebuild. Second of all, Lamar Jackson's looking for a new offensive coordinator. If you had Greg Roman still, yeah, Anthony Richardson may work out. But if you draft Anthony Richardson, there's no way Lamar Jackson goes, you know what? Yeah, let me sign that contract extension after being franchise tagged once. No, he's going to look at you like, dude, what are you doing? I don't want to be here anymore. You clearly don't value me. When he could have gone out and gotten me a wide receiver, You instead decided to draft a quarterback in the first round. Look at how Joe Flacco felt, right? Like they didn't tell Joe Flacco, "Hey, we're gonna look and try and find a potential young guy." It was like, no, Ozzie Newsome saw it. Lamar Jackson was like, "Yeah, we're gonna take this guy." Joe Flacco was pissed, and so he played out. And then he left. And why did he leave? Because he was pissed, right? It's very clear when you draft a quarterback in the first round that you're trying to have them become your starter. You do not draft a first round quarterback to be a perennial backup. You can draft a fifth round quarterback to be a perennial backup. A sixth round, I think Trace McSorley was a sixth round pick. You can draft a sixth rounder to be your backup quarterback. That's fine. But using high end draft capital is utterly ridiculous. And if everything happens the way that he's saying, like, oh man, if they really can't build it, the Baltimore Ravens organization truly believes that Lamar Jackson is staying. Whether or not a contract is done this year, like they're going to franchise tag him, they're going to continue working at that. They are trying to prove to him that, hey, we want to build around you, we want to pay you, let's get this thing done. You do not build confidence in somebody by hiring a replacement. That is the worst possible thing you could do in the short term and in the long term. Again, I don't have anything against Anthony Richardson. I don't think he should be a first round pick, but he definitely shouldn't be a first round pick to the Baltimore Ravens. That's what I have to say. You wouldn't see it. Let's say Joe Burrow and the Bengals are having contract negotiations, and it's like, oh man, I want a little bit more money. I took us to the Super Bowl, and they're like, okay, you know what? We'll wait till next year. We can play that out. And then the next year, it's like Joe Burrow's going into the final year, and people are like, yeah, the Bengals have them drafting Arch Manning. And you're like, what? They're like, well, yeah, if they don't get that contract, that's like, no. You would go out and you draft him a lineman, or you draft him somebody that builds confidence that, hey, we're trying to help you. Anthony Richardson is not helping Lamar in any facet. Draft any other position. Any other position. You could draft a running back. I don't even think we need a running back. But you could draft Bijan or Gibbs. It'd be more helpful than Anthony Richardson. You could draft your tackle. At least there'd be depth that, if somebody goes down, you can use them. Draft a safety. We can move on from Chuck Clark, use 3 safeties. That's fine. Draft a linebacker. At least he can play special teams. Maybe he can switch, play a little bit of Sam linebacker. Maybe, do a couple of things. The versatile. I don't know. Don't draft a quarterback. This is ridiculous. I saw this and I was like, Daniel Jeremiah did this? Like, I have like faith in Daniel Jeremiah. That's why I normally wouldn't make like if I saw some random ESPN analyst, I wouldn't be like, oh, let's make a video on this. No. Daniel Jeremiah is a guy that I've been watching for years, and I like his scouting profiles. I like his, stuff. He does good work, and he's from the Ravens organization, so he knows kind of what they're thinking. But I think he missed with this one. Let me know in the comment section down below your guys' thoughts. Are you guys as like shocked as me? Because I saw this and I was like, there's no way he thought this. This is like, I didn't make a video when PFF had the Ravens drafting a tight end in the first round. I think they had them drafting Darnell Washington. Yeah, it was Darnell Washington to the Ravens, a tight end. I didn't make a video on that because I don't respect PFF, or at least their mock draft analysts. Actually, I don't like PFF as a grading system either. But they had him drafted. I was like, I'm not making a video on that. But Daniel Jeremiah is a guy that I respect, and I think he does have an inside ear on the things that are happening. But I think this is completely wrong. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content, and I'll see all of you again next time.